So it's early December 2024 and I have had 2 lorry loads of building materials delivered. The first lorry was all of the timber that I need to build my new garden office and all of the timber that I need to build the ultimate home workshop, which I'm intending to put up at the bottom of the garden. The second lorry load was it was 6 tonnes of MOT and 1 tonne of sand, all of which again has to be wheelbarrowed into the back. I've finished that task now, and that task took me roughly, I've kept a log of it, it kept me roughly 2 man days of effort. So that wasn't all at once. I am nearly 60. I have to pace myself, so that has been spread out over probably the last 5 weeks. I moved the timber first, and then I moved the MOT, and then I moved the sand, and then I moved the MOT. So all of the materials now are in the back garden, and we are ready to get underway. Okay, so you're probably wondering what my grand plan is for the back garden. So we are lucky enough to have a larger than average back garden. Our back garden is 40 metres long by 10 metres wide, 400 square metres of garden, which is above average for the UK. Certainly it is much bigger than the postage stamp gardens you get with new builds nowadays. You could probably in fact fit 3 new build houses on this plot with gardens. Our garden is so large. Now I have permission from Rosemary to have a very large vegetable garden, so the plan is that there will be approximately 30 vegetable beds, and each of those will be 3 metres by 1 metre, and they will be deep dug, non-tread, basically not going to be walking on them once I've created them, and they'll only have a light turning over every year. But I'm going to have 30 odd vegetable beds. There's going to be 4 rows, which will be the standard rotation, and then there'll be 6 beds for all the good stuff that you want to keep there, the perennials I believe they're called, things like rhubarb and asparagus and various other bits and pieces that don't get moved from one year to the next. There is a plan along the edge of these beds up against the north fence. This is almost perfectly east-west aligned, so this northern fence, which obviously gets all the sun in summer, is going to be where I want to put some espalier fruit trees. But yes, that's this is the general plan when the whole build process is finished. Now at the back I'm going to have the greenhouse. Now the greenhouse came with the property. It's a big 16 foot by 8 foot greenhouse, which is currently in the middle of the garden here. I'm going to be disassembling that at some point and cleaning the glass and reassembling, tidying everything up, fixing everything, putting it up on a base of bricks, like 3 courses of bricks all the way around the outside, and then fitting the frame to that. I'm a tall chap, I'm 6 foot tall, and I keep banging my head every time I go in the greenhouse at the moment, so if I can raise it a foot and put a better door on than the sliding door that's there at the moment, then I will be able to work in the greenhouse without bashing my head too many times. My main build is going to be the garden workshop, and that's going to be a series of videos that will probably kick off sometime April-May time, this is going to be my dream workshop. I am building this absolutely from scratch, and I am making sure that I've got everything that I need and everything that I could want to go inside that. That's going to be 29.7 square meters internal space, and it's going to be 3.8 meters tall. So this is going to be a building that will meet all of the requirements for permitted development in the UK, which means we don't need to apply for planning permission. But what we have done already is we've submitted the plans for these. So this has been a job that's been in preparation for several months, and I submitted the plans to Arran Council Planning Department, and they have issued us with a certificate of lawful development for the building, which basically says that so long as I stick to the plans that I've submitted, that this is lawful development, it doesn't need planning permission, and that gives us a piece of paperwork to go with all the other paperwork for the house to say that that's all good. Now, the other project that I have planned is a garden office. The house itself is only a small 2-bedroom bungalow. The intention is to have an extension on the house probably in 2020, end of 2026, 2027 is to build an extension. That will give us a 3rd bedroom. At the moment I'm using the spare room, the 2nd bedroom, as my office. We need to get me out of the spare bedroom so that we can use it as a spare bedroom for visitors, and I need to have my own space. So this is going to be the first of the major projects that I have for the garden. And what I'm going to do now is give you a quick walkthrough of the build process and show you some of the internals with regards to the design. So before I start talking about the main garden office model, I just wanted to discuss a problem that I will have. I'm right in the middle of dealing with it, so it's all 3 tenses, I'm afraid. The path isn't perfectly parallel to the boundary fence. It's actually offset by about 3 degrees, and in the middle of this is a manhole cover. Now, this is the manhole cover just for our drains for this property, but building regs in the UK state that every time a drain changes direction there must be an accessible manhole cover. Now, our drain comes down underneath the garage from the house, hits this manhole cover, and then comes off at about a 15-degree angle to go down to the public sewer, which runs all the way along the back garden, all the way through the back gardens, at the bottom of the back gardens of all of the houses on this side of the road. Now, because it's a junction and because it's changing direction, I can't do anything about moving that manhole. When it came to the overall plan for the garden, this is the prime place, the optimum place for me to put my garden office. It's close to the house, it's close to electricity, it maximises the amount of space for the vegetable garden, and the plan is that we will demolish the garage. This isn't the garage, obviously it's just a box to represent the position of the garage, but we are planning to extend the house. That extension's obviously going to take off a chunk of the garage, and what we're thinking is that having a parking place behind gates for a car would be more advantageous. It would be better for us. So having a place to park the cars would be better for us than actually having a garage. We've got enough storage with the garden office and the workshop and another shed and the greenhouse that we don't actually need to have a garage here. And this garage has got an asbestos roof. It's built with concrete, preformed, like prefabricated concrete blocks, and it's a general mess, really. It's very old, it's very untidy, and we just want to get rid of it. So what I've had to do is I've had to rethink the design of the building. Originally the building was just going to be a box, and now what I have to do is I have to take into account that there is this manhole that's got to be accommodated. Now, you can see the path is running through the middle of the design. That path no longer exists. I took that path up last weekend, and that's now completely gone. So the plan, if I take the path out of the diagram, so the plan is that I'm going to build a plinth, is that the right word? Yeah, it's a slab basically, which is going to accommodate a new manhole cover and manhole rim, which will give me access. And with the additional piers, and these piers are going to be about 10 centimeters, well, they're going to be exactly 10 centimeters above the ground level and about 50 centimeters underground. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a porch for the building. So where the door is there's going to be a porch. So if I put the base frame on, you can see exactly what the framing for the base is going to look like. This is going to be 3 frames with quite obviously the porch at the front. This area is going to be my office. This area is going to be my leatherworking workshop, work area. And again, I wanted to keep the leatherwork out of the main workshop because that's going to be for woodworking and furniture making, and it gets very dusty in there. So if I just throw up the frame, you can have a look and see exactly what I'm proposing in terms of the building. Now, I apologise now. During the course of this project, I think this design might change again. So just bear with me if all of a sudden you look back at this initial video and then you look at the final video, there may well be some changes. It's changing all of the time. For example, I've only just added these 2 windows in on the side because as I was sat there thinking about it, I was thinking to have more light. I originally only had this one window at the end facing down the garden. Then we realised we were going to get rid of the garage, so I decided to put one at that end, and now I've decided to put 2 extra ones in. So I'm going to have the 4 windows. This is all changing. The doors are going to be stable doors, or Dutch doors as our American cousins would call them. Put the top plate on, you can see it's going to be a standard flat roof construction. The rafters are flat, and what I'm intending to do is to put furrings on the top of the rafters. And a furring is just a piece of wood that's about 50mm, 2 inches at one end, and 3 meters later tapers off to nothing, which means the roof will have a pitch which will allow the water to run off, but the rafters underneath will give us a flat roof inside the garden off. And that's pretty much what this project is going to be about, me building this building from scratch. Externally, it's going to be clad in concrete fiberboard, which, believe it or not, it's going to be coloured, so I probably won't have to paint it. But it's actually cheaper than putting any kind of cladding on the outside, and because it's cement fiberboard, I can come much closer to the fence. In the UK, if it's made out of timber, I think the regulation's 2 meters that you've got to be away from the fence. So the fact that it's up against the fence, and again, I'm not an expert on this, but I believe regulations, UK building regs, are that it's only the side closest to the boundary that has to be non-combustible material if you want to put it close. But I'm going with that all the way around. And as you can see, I haven't quite finished cladding the model. So that is pretty much it as far as the build is concerned. It's going to have a rubber roof. Again, just a standard thing. Don't need to put the insulation in, it's not finished yet. So yes, so we have a good representation of what I'm intending to build. Now, ultimately, when this project's finished, I'm going to have this model, just the garden room. I will have a finished garden room model available as an SKP. I will also be, as I'm going to be putting together a PDF document of every single stage of the build and what you need to do and what materials you need and the kind of materials you need, so that if you want to build a building similar to this yourself, you can base it on my model. You can get a copy of SketchUp, you can alter my model, or you can build yourself a completely new model. But the PDF document will tell you everything that you need to include and every stage you need to go through, and it will have plans built into that for this particular garden office. And all of that will be available on the website in due course. Right. So all we need to do is push on and prepare the garden. We've got a lot of things that I need to clear up before I can start building. Get rid of the tree, get rid of the concrete pad, tidy up where I want to build the
Spot on.
not like Good. In the wheelbarrow and then out the bag at the front. It's just if you clear the bits as we go. Yeah, don't worry about the stones, we'll use a shovel for those and they can stay in the ground. It's the concrete that's the most important. If you could bring the coffee from James, that'd be awesome. They can load.
It was just you for two, wasn't it?
It was, yes. That's it, boys. We should be done now.
Oh, cool. I'll get ready.
I mean, with my...
This is the last barrel.
Possibly. There might be one more after this.